Hi guys, my name is Shikha and welcome to my channel Shikha Readster. It's time for my February wrap-up video. I was not able to read many books last month, mainly because of adulthood woes, real-life problems. You get the gist. I read 4 books and let me just quickly go through them so that I can talk about my March TBR pile for Femme March Fest. So the first book that I read in the month of February is Arthala by Mr. Vivek Kumar. This book was sent to me by the author for review. I have already reviewed it on my channel. You can check that out. Link will be down below. It's a Hindi book and part 1 of Sangram Sindhu Gatha, which is a mythological fantasy series. Story is very long and it's not possible to explain it completely here, but I'll try. Now, as this is the first book in the series, we are of course introduced to the mythical world of Jambudweep, which is fashioned after India. We have different kingdoms here which are ruled by kings and queens. We have different kind of mythical creatures from Indian mythology, and of course we have a big problem which I'm not going to discuss here. Last but not the least, we have Vidhan, who is our main protagonist. He is a potter's son and a Siddhi Dharak. We follow his journey as a Siddhi Dharak in this book. He completes his education in one of the reputed institutes of Jambudweep, and that's about it. Now, there are various aspects of the story which I have not discussed here. For that, you have to read this book. This book is full of Indian mythical creatures, Danavs, Devtas, Rakshas, Bhidaksh Jati, and it was fascinating. What I like most about the story is that it is not copied from or inspired from Ramayana or Mahabharata. It's a completely new story. It feels as if author has taken the best things out of Indian mythology and then discarded the cliched parts and created this book. Another thing which I enjoyed a lot is that it has beautifully merged real life problems with fantasy problems such as fight for power, weapon sellers, drug mafia, corruption. All these things are intertwined in the story with fantasy elements. The only negative thing about this book is that it is written in pure Hindi. Now, I can't say that it's a negative point because author chose to write this book in pure Hindi because he wanted to give the story an olden day vibe. So it's not actually a negative thing, but kids from today's generation, they are not familiar with old Hindi, so maybe they'll find it a little bit tedious to read this book. But for me, it was 4 out of 5. Next, I read Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. It's a psychological thriller and this book was sent to me by Bloomsbury India for review. This is my first Lockhart book, so I didn't know what to expect from it. Story is about Jules and Imogen. I do want to explain the plot, but I can't because then I have to spoil it and I don't want to do that. I have reviewed this book on my blog. You can check that out. I didn't like this book very much, mainly because it's a flashback story and I'm not a big fan of backward written stories because if you put them down, they become confusing as hell. And I read at least 2 to 3 books at a time. Yes, I'm not a monogamous reader. And the same thing happened with this book also. It was confusing as hell for me because A, flashbacks, and B, there are so many time jumps which I didn't like. Now, it's my personal opinion. So many book bloggers and readers enjoyed this book. So yeah, people are okay with flashbacks. Also, there is no big reveal waiting for you. I think halfway through the book, you'll be able to guess what's going to happen in the end. But the way this story is narrated, that is very interesting. I think more interesting than the truth itself. So I won't say that it is boring. It's just a little bit predictable. Also, the story is written in third person, which was very refreshing for a thriller because most of them are written in first person. I gave it 3 out of 5. Then I read Leanings of the Road or Pothe Sanchoy by Rabindranath Tagore. It's a Bengali book translated into English by Somdatta Mandal. It was sent to me by Nyogi Books for review. I have already written the review, but I haven't posted it yet. But I think by the time I upload this video, review will be on my website. So yeah, check that out. Link will be down below. It is a non-fiction collection of Tagore's travelogues. He was a huge traveler, and Tagore being Tagore, he used to write a lot while traveling. He used to write letters to his family members and friends. He used to write articles for various literary magazines, and of course he used to write in his own journals. So yeah, this book is actually a compilation of all those essays, letters and articles. Now, I am a big fan of Tagore's fictional stories, but if you truly want to understand the beauty of his brain, you must read his non-fiction work. Take example of this book. When you read these letters and essays, you understand that how he slowly developed as a traveler, how his perception changed about Western society. He was not afraid of their customs or traditions, he was enjoying them. Also, Tagore was a firm believer of the fact that one shouldn't travel just to fulfill a need. For him, traveling was his way to broaden his horizon, to know more about this world, and this concept is beautifully explained in this book. Of course, Somdatta Mandal has done a fantastic job in translating this book. Mind you, it is not at all easy to translate Kaviguru's books, especially his non-fiction work, because you are not only translating the words, you have to keep in mind the elegance and charm of his writing style, without which these words have no meaning. So yeah, I gave it 3.5 out of 5, and if you are a non-Bengali who wants to read Tagore's work, definitely check this out. And lastly, I read Folk by Zoe Gilbert. It's a fantasy story set on a magical island. This here is an uncorrected proof copy sent to me by Bloomsbury India for review. Now, first things first, I was so excited to read this book because A, look at this cover. It is so beautiful. It feels as if it is calling you like a siren to read it. And B, the blurb. It is kind of vague, but it is very interesting. I was so sure that I'll enjoy this story because I love whimsical stories like Alice in Wonderland, but it is needless to say that I didn't like it at all. When I started reading the book, I was unsure that what is happening. I mean, I know that it's a fantasy world, so it is bound to be different from ours. But still, the story was not making any sense to me. It took me a while to realize that it's actually a short story collection where each story is somehow connected to another one. But by then, it was too late for me. I lost my interest completely. I didn't like the characters at all. And I think the ending of each story was messy too. It felt as if author is rushing the ending and then abruptly starting another one. So yeah, I didn't like it. I gave it 2 out of 5, and it's not my cup of tea. So now that this wrap up video is over, it's time to talk about my March TBR pile. If you guys follow my channel, you know that I do not generally make TBR videos because I'm a very moody reader and I do not plan my readings at all. I read 2-3 books at a time. I think if I read one book at a time, I'll get so bored that I'll quit reading. So yeah, that's me. But this time it's different. I'm participating in a readathon organized by my favorite bookstagrammer, the Liquid Sunset Aritri Chatterjee. If you guys do not follow her already, go check her out. Her page is fantastic. She's a fabulous person and she's a diverse reader also. Her recommendations are always on point. So the name of this readathon is Femme March Fest, and throughout the month of March, we are going to read books written by female authors or poets. There is no fixed limit. You can read as many books as you want. You can even read one book if you do not have time. The main point here is to read books written by female authors. I have selected few books for this readathon. All of these books are written by female authors. Now I will talk about these books in detail in my March wrap-up video. I'm just going to show you the books, so let's begin. First we have The Help by Catherine Stockett. I have already read this book. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned that how much I was looking forward to read this book. I mean, I searched for this copy for around 1 year, then I finally got it. But I didn't like it. I mean, it's not that I hated it, but I didn't like it very much. There is this one point which bothered me so much, and it's quite a big point. So I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'll talk about it in my March wrap-up video. Yeah, let's move forward. Book number 2 is Circe by Madeline Miller. It's a retelling of Greek mythology story. It's about Circe, who is daughter of a water nymph and Titan god Helios. Now, I have recently finished this book and I absolutely love this book. I generally do not like retellings that much, but this book, oh my god, I loved it. I just absolutely loved it, and I'm really looking forward to read Madeline Miller's first book, which is Song of Achilles. Then we have This Is How It Ends by Eva Dolan. I'm currently reading this book and loving it so much. It's a psychological thriller set in the world of social activism. We have 2 female protagonists, both of whom are social activists. One of them kills a person and then hell breaks loose. As I said, I'm currently loving this book. I just hope that the ending is fascinating too. Next we have Written in Tears by Arupa Patangya Kalita. It's a collection of short stories from Assam and it is translated into English by Ranjita Bishwas. Now I am from Assam and I am ashamed to admit that I didn't know about this book until I got this in a subscription box. So yeah, ashamed and really looking forward to read this. Next we have another review copy from Bloomsbury, India, That Thing We Call a Heart by Sheba Karim. Now I have read 20 pages of this book and I liked it. Story is about 2 teenage girls who live in a foreign land and it is somehow connected to India-Pakistan partition. Next, I have two short story books in Hindi. One is by Ismat Chugtai and another one is by Ashapurna Devi, who is a famous Bengali author. I have these books for 2 years now and I haven't read them. I mean, I have read 2-3 stories, but I want to finish them. I don't know why, whenever I delay reading books written by Indian authors, I'm really ashamed of that, though I have very little time to read. So yeah, I'm looking forward to read these books. So that's it for today's video. These were all the books which I selected for readathon. I'm sure I won't be able to finish all these books, but I'll try my level best. Please go in the comment section down below and let me know which books you are reading for Women's Month. I would love to know that. Also, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.